This is Meltdown Live, presented by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag for double your initial deposit. You sign on to make a deposit, they double it with code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag.
Welcome into the Culver studio as we are broadcasting another edition of Meltdown Live. So happy to have you here with us on this Monday. I am Tim Melton, and we appreciate your subscription here to the channel as we continue to grow and appreciate all of your support and time, energy, and effort making this thing what it is. Hit that thumbs up button for us as well. Let's get to the cast of characters that's going to be joining us here on today's show, including the one, the only Tyler Lionel Johns, the other half of the Meltdown, Mr. Tyler. How are you doing after the weekend that was?
I'm good. I watched so many movies over the weekend, like 4 or 5 in theaters.
Yeah, that's way too many considering the
Yeah.
slop that is out, because it's not a great time for the theatrical exhibition array of films that are on the menu right now. Not great.
Yeah, I think the best movie I saw was just mediocre. Well, actually, that's not true.
Oh,
I saw a pretty good movie that's a contender for Best Picture, and then everything after that was a very steep drop off.
I keep forgetting the name of it. It's called I'm Still Here.
Yes.
Okay. I am going to see that this afternoon, and then we will share our thoughts and opinions, but you think worthy of the watch, worthy of the time.
Yes, I wouldn't vote for this to be Best Picture, but I really like Fernando Torres's performance in this, and I really like the cinematography. They go for a very close handheld style, and so it reminded me a lot of City of God, another movie set in Brazil.
It's in Portuguese subtitles. I'm sorry, Portuguese with English subtitles. And so reading a movie is not something a lot of people love to do. I have no problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it either. I think if the voice actors or the just regular live action
Yeah.
actors are good enough and they can immerse you in the story, then the reading is just kind of like you look at it and absorb the information
I'm with you.
without actively reading.
It is a more engaging experience at times. We have EG here with us, fresh out of the state of Georgia, where you went back home.
Yeah.
How was it being back on the motherland of Georgia here in America?
It was good. It was my brother's 27th birthday, so we celebrated him, had a nice brunch, watched the game, gathered with family. It was just a nice weekend, very relaxing.
We're going to be getting into every angle of the game here in a second, and we brought out the big guns
We did.
for this.
Big.
Mr. Ryan Brown is here with us in studio, once again reappearing on the Meltdown. We're always happy to have him sharing some time with us.
Hey, guys.
Brownie, that game kind of stunk, didn't it?
It was pretty bad. I mean, it's not Portuguese with English subtitles, but it was pretty boring. Yeah, I mean, I did not see that coming. I thought Philadelphia would win. I mean, the record will show. I said it many times on the show last week. I thought Philadelphia would win, that nobody has ever won 3 straight Super Bowls, and there's a reason why. I don't know what that reason is, but it's just when something has not happened and you've got that big of a, set of data, there's a reason it doesn't happen, right? And nobody had ever won 3 consecutive Super Bowls, so I was convinced that they would not, and they did not. I just did not think it would go down that way.
If not for that offensive pass interference call there,
Oh.
which was an awful call, by the
Awful.
way.
Absolutely.
But
and you know what everybody immediately said?
Oh,
Here goes Kansas
it's
City
in.
getting all the calls again. Yep.
Had it not been for that, this could have been even worse than it was. I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't feel like it was competitive from the jump, which is a rare thing to say about a Kansas City Chiefs game, especially when the lights are brightest there in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree completely with you. I mean, you look back on it now and you're like, well, if they had not called that, Philadelphia's up 7-0 real quick, and that gets out of hand. But at the time, I thought, boy, that might have been Philadelphia's best chance of scoring. Like, if they score there, they got a shot in this game.
Mhm.
But boy, you missed an opportunity to score. Did not matter. I mean, that just kept it from being 50-something to 6. But give credit to Philadelphia, man. They just played a much, 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 much better game.
It was a great night for Philly fans, but not necessarily a great night for not only Chiefs fans, but really football fans, as I think we were robbed of a competitive game that had maybe more interest on the field in a potential, like with what we saw the first time around with Kansas City
Right.
and Philadelphia. I want to get into every aspect here of the broadcast. And if you guys watched on Sunday, hopefully a lot of this stuff stuck out to you? The chat very excited that Ryan Brown is here with us today.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's awesome.
Can't see the chat. Hello, chat.
Yes. Hello,
Hey,
chat.
chat.
Let's start off with this. Brad Pitt, his huddle
Yeah.
speech profiling American history with a lengthy shot of the American flag there at the end hanging in New Orleans. I thought it was really expertly crafted and well done. Did you happen to see that presentation, Brownie? This was pregame.
Yeah, I did not. I had a lot going on pregame. I was working the grill, went a little deeper than I thought I might on the grill.
It's on YouTube. I recommend you check it
I'll
out.
go back and look.
still.
So
You'll like
Brad
it.
Pitt, basically an essay on
Brad Pitt talking about how the huddle is something that no matter what walk of life you come from in the American journey, it's something that you've experienced that has improved your life. And I
Okay.
think it's very well done. There's a great tribute to the troops there,
Yeah.
first responders. I mean,
Doctors, nurses.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll go look at it.
I think it's really great. It kind of this felt like, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but this felt like the most patriotic Super Bowl that I can remember in recent memory.
Kind of strange. I wonder how much of it has to do with the New Orleans terrorist attack right before the Sugar Bowl. I mean, there's got to be some of that, obviously. President Trump was there. Oddly, until you think about it, the first sitting president ever to attend a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Well, but E.G., when you think about it, they've already been elected by
That's true.
February
They're
or
not
Virginia. There's
no
no reason to step
campaigning.
out. That's right. There's
Yeah.
no campaigning. So they don't really have to go there to campaign.
But it seems like that's such a
And-
opportune event just to show
Yeah.
face.
And if you're up for re-election, it is so far in advance of the actual campaign season.
You're just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, you just why waste the time. So it really doesn't fall on a calendar where it would make sense. I think President Trump was there. I mean, everyone will have a reason why. That's just the way he is. But I think, a lot of it had to do with the terrorist attack, right? And just to
Yeah.
show New Orleans is a city that depends so heavily on tourism dollars that, just to show that city's back open and back safe again.
There were a lot of notable celebrities there in attendance, as there are with all Super Bowls, really. But this one featured a little bit of a clash between President Trump and Taylor Swift, who was in attendance, watching Travis Kelce play, obviously, for the Chiefs. His version of history is he got wildly cheered, she got, heavily booed.
Yep.
Was that your takeaway watching it from the broadcast side of things, G?
I did not. So I have seen the Taylor Swift video circulating on social media, and it doesn't look great, the video itself, of the side eye she gives. And I don't want to say she looked embarrassed, but you could tell that she was thrown off by the response that she was given, considering every time she's gone to a game, it's been very exciting. It's been a lot of crowd response in a positive way. And
It's also always been in the home stadium.
exactly.
With the
It's
Chiefs, yeah.
always been in Kansas City. And so I have seen the videos. I definitely think she was booed. And I did hear on the broadcast when Trump was shown, there was an audible cheer on the broadcast.
It was reported that Philly fans dominated the attendance
I
of
could believe
this
that.
game.
Yeah.
That has to affect the amount of cheers/boos that Taylor Swift is going.
Yeah.
Of course.
She's representing the Chiefs at that point.
That's
Yeah.
how I took it as. I didn't take it as anything other than literally her boyfriend is Travis Kelce, and
Yeah.
she's represents the Chiefs. Some people are not going to take it that way.
Some
That's
people have not.
fine, because a lot of the Swifties are saying, "Oh my gosh, she grew up an Eagles fan."
Oh,
I don't
come
know
on.
her.
She didn't grow up an Eagles fan.
I-
That's the most absurd thing you
It-
could even argue.
That is what
She's from
is
Nashville.
Yeah, she's from Nashville.
That
How would
is-
you have grown up an Eagles fan?
that is what is circulating on social media. I did not say it.
Yeah.
Apparently, I knew her when she was that age. I actually think she is from Philadelphia or from Pennsylvania.
Well, they moved to Nashville early on.
She's from Pennsylvania. I will give
Okay.
them that.
Yeah,
She's
okay.
from Pennsylvania, but I don't think that she was an outspoken Philadelphia fan.
I would like the opportunity to quiz her on Eagles trivia.
I think a lot of people would.
I mean, when people say I grew up a such and such fan, I could probably ask you 5
Ooh.
questions.
I mean, it'd be like me saying I'm a Hawks fan.
All right, you grew up a Hawks fan, okay? Greatest Hawk of all time.
I don't even care.
Okay.
Pistol Pete
That- I mean,
Maravich.
that's-
Okay, it's Dominique
But
Wilkins.
If you want
first
me
of
to cover
all.
your team,
Yeah.
Hawks, I will.
Alright.
We can
Yeah.
go Atlanta.
Respecting Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete, Dominique Wilkins, a far better professional player than Pistol Pete. Not even close, Tyler.
All that to say,
Yeah.
we rest our case.
Okay.
Do you feel any emotional response whatsoever, Brown, when Taylor Swift is panned to in a NFL game? I mean,
Not
do
one
you
bit.
have any sort of reaction? Because
One bit.
people get up in arms
They do.
about it, and then other people are cheering it. That's the only reason they're watching. And what do you make of that phenomenon?
If it's constant, like every other play, but I have that same reaction if we find star players' mom and dad, and we keep
Yeah.
seeing their reaction. Like anything that is just over and over and over again. At some point, I'm
I
like,
know.
just
Like a-
show me the
Like
game.
guys showing up in a Bob Ross costume at a game or something.
Yeah,
Like, just how
exactly.
many
There
times?
is some hypocrisy to this. I was paying off a bracket bet loss, and my goal was to get on TV as much as possible. I achieved that.
Think about it.
You were correct. There's some hypocrisy in
I
that.
was doing a radio show at the time, doing play-by-play of how many times they were cutting to you during your actual appearance. So I was live on the air
I didn't know that. I
on
never
the
knew that.
radio while you're at the game, and every time it would happen, we would cut in with an update. They showed him again.
How many times do you anticipate or do you suspect they showed me?
I felt like they showed you at
A
least
lot,
a
yeah.
half dozen times.
Probably so.
I mean,
Luganville being on the game was key, and I obviously when we made the bet, I did not realize Luganville was going to be on that game. But
That
y'all know
does
this
help.
story?
Yes, I've heard
Yeah,
it.
okay.
you know
thank
the
goodness.
story? What do I need to just a brief story for the
Sure, go
audience?
for it.
So we always do stupid bracket bets, and one year the bracket bet was if I lost, and this was the year Dunaway finished second and had to do stand up comedy. If I lost, I had to go to a MAC game, a midweek MACtion game. So I went to Eastern Michigan versus Central Michigan, and I had to make every effort to get on TV. Well, I was Bob Ross for Halloween that year, so I was just like, well, I'll just double dip. So it was in November, so I'd already been Bob Ross for Halloween, so I wore the Bob Ross costume, and ESPN showed me. Now I had some signs, Luganville signs and stuff like that. Him being on the game again was tremendous help because he was in on the joke. He knew what we were doing. Organically, him not being on the game, I don't know if it works. I don't know how much they show me, but the stadium was far from full. It's a midweek MAC game, and I'm in a basically empty end zone by myself.
I mean,
Yeah.
Bob Ross at a midweek MACtion game is probably more interesting than midweek
The
MACtion.
midweek MACtion,
Yeah.
right? I thought and it was a blowout, so they
Yeah.
had to fill time at the end.
You did look like a crazy person, but it was great entertainment for all of those who were in on why you were there in the
The
first place.
thing I take the greatest amount of pride in, and that whole thing was that when ESPN sent out the ratings, the ESPN PR person texted me and said, "You're going to want to see the ratings for
No way.
Tuesday night's MACtion game." Birmingham was the number one market in America. Yep.
Hey, that's
Yep.
awesome. I didn't
So
know
I
that
do.
part.
I take a great deal of pride in that. That showed that our show mattered to some people, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Lady Gaga performance
Yeah.
there on Bourbon Street, singing "Hold My Hand," which is from
Top Gun.
Top Gun Maverick, which is your favorite or second favorite movie of all time.
Favorite movie of all time.
Top Gun
So-
Maverick is your favorite movie of
Yeah,
all time.
and Top Gun. They're
She
both
considers
my favorite.
them one movie, which it upsets me to no end.
Yeah, they're not really.
They're not really, but I just love them
Okay.
both so much.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
anyways.
did you happen to see that performance?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Exceptional.
It was great. It was great.
It was done probably a couple nights beforehand. But
Actually, the night before,
they had Michael Strahan and Tom Brady.
Aaron Andrews was out there.
Roger Goodell was standing there
Yeah.
alongside them too.
Carissa Thompson.
But I mean, it was really strong. They had Sean Payton. He was there walking out with them.
A lot of military, and it seemed like just kind of
Yeah.
normal people.
I mean, it was
also
it's
made
just
up
a
the crowd.
great performance. If you haven't seen that, check it out on YouTube. But really, really, really good. Okay, Brownie, the Fox score bug
Oh,
that everybody lost their mind over. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't hate it.
I hated it.
I don't hate it.
I
So
hated it.
it's so interesting to me that the networks do this is they unveil their future graphics packages at the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, which is weird to me. Like this is something they're going to start using next year. They've done it one way all season long, and then we get to the Super Bowl and we do it a different way, which is kind of strange to me. That concept of that is weird,
I
right?
don't like that.
Like, why would you not unveil it in the preseason?
Well, I think if you're confident in an idea, unveiling it when you've got the most possible eyeballs is not.
Yeah.
I mean, it is risky because you have the type of reaction you got last night across social media, which
Me
was
too.
universally panning it. But you think they changed course at all on it?
Boy, I don't know. It's tough to go back once you've done it in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So at first I thought it was missing like part of the graphic.
Yeah, yeah.
It had so much clear space, EG, that I thought
Right.
like, they have this is a bad punch. Like, what you would
Yeah.
call in the industry
You
a
can
bad
see
punch.
more
Yeah.
of the field. I like
You
es-
could,
especially
yeah.
if you're playing fantasy. You can
Right.
keep up with players a lot
So,
easier.
I'm looking at this now because I didn't get a chance to see it during the game. I
How
like
did you not
it.
see it during the game? It's at the
He didn't-
bottom of the screen
I,
the
I,
entire
did, I didn't
time.
watch the game. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Nice cover there.
Yeah.
I,
Wes.
Well, I mean, that covered nothing.
Right.
You could not see it. It's at the bottom of the screen. It's the most prominent part of the screen, and it's pretty
It's
important. It's got
huge.
score and time and
Yeah.
down and distance. Those are like the most important parts of the game. Okay, go ahead.
We were going to
well, I didn't see it because The one way I would have missed it, and that was by not watching the game at all.
Right.
I don't mind it, other than the floating stats in the corner.
The down and distance,
I, d-
I
I don't. I
hate
don't
it.
like that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I didn't have a big problem with it,
I-
but a lot of people were very passionate about it.
Yeah. The just the 3 letters for each team or the 2 letters seems kind of generic.
And they were looked off. They weren't even.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Philadelphia looked bigger than
Yeah, you had PHI and
Yeah.
KC. That's just
Yeah.
kind of generic. Why can we not use just like small logos or something?
Yeah.
We have so much ground to cover here, but I have to ask this. I've always wanted to ask you this as a football watching enthusiast. When you first went from a standard definition to a high definition game, was
Yeah.
it like a noticeable jump for you to where it was life changing as an avid football viewer?
So I'll tell you where it was the biggest jump. All right, so I'm not going to remember what Super Bowl number this is, but well, actually, let me back up. Let me back up. I was in a department. All right, for all you kids out here, we used to have this thing called a mall, and they had department stores. And we were in a department store, and they were playing the Florida Tennessee game, and it was in high definition. Now, what I'm trying to remember is why I was not at home watching this game. It was a primetime CBS game. Maybe there was, I can't remember why I would not be at home watching
Yeah.
it, but it was the first time I ever saw a game in high definition. And I was like, you could tell a difference. Like, man, that looks like a video game. And then I had a friend the year Tom Brady and the Patriots beat the Rams. It was Brady's first Super
Mhm.
Bowl moment. Tip of the hat to Lance since the Rams lost. And I remember him saying, "Hey, you want to come watch the Super Bowl at our house?" I was like, "Sure." He goes, "I hear it's going to be in high definition." I'm
Big
like,
deal.
"Really?"
Guys, big deal.
And he just bought a high definition TV, like the size of that wall behind EG. And there's no telling how much he bought it for. And I'm like, there's like 3 things each week in high definition, and you spend all this money on high definition TV. But then we watched the game, and I'm like, this is pretty
It's pretty
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I do remember that. So yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, it is the same thing as going from black and white to color. Do you think? I would
Mhm.
say it is.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, when you watch older highlights compared to now, it's like night and day.
Well, what I can't stand is less than the lack of clarity is the squeeze down. I
Yeah.
cannot stand the dead space.
Yeah.
Like if anything is squeezed, like even movies in letterbox bother me for a little while because of the dead. I don't know why the dead space bothers me. I want my entire screen
To
filled.
be filled.
Like used to, yeah, I would always flip my phone on videos because I want the entire screen filled.
Tyler, I'd like to remind the people watching at home right now that if you'd like a high definition smile, there's only one team that you should turn to, and that is the team at Alabama Dental Associates.
That was elite right
You
there.
can find them over on Grants Mill Road. That is Dr. Jeff, Dr. Brian, and Dr. Nolan. They're going to take good care of you. They're with the best staff in town, the friendliest staff in town for sure. Whether you have a nagging toothache or you need to get on top of those regular dental cleanings, they're there for you. Maybe you're new in town, need to make sure you have that dentist on standby. Reach out. Try Alabama Dental Associates for yourself as they're accepting new patients now and can help you feel at ease about all of your upcoming dental procedures. For more information or to make an appointment, call them 205 956 8977 or visit alabamadental.com where they look forward to seeing you. All right, we've got to get to one of the hot button topics here Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. What does everybody think? EG, I'll start with you.
Um, you know, I've never really been super hot or cold on the halftime shows, so it was fine. Not a Kendrick Lamar fan, so it didn't really pique my interest in that way, but it was fine.
Okay, very lukewarm reception there. Tyler, you are a Kendrick Lamar fan. What did you think of the halftime performance? That is something you saw, which is why he didn't see the score bug because it wasn't on during the halftime.
That is the one part of the
So
game with no
true.
score.
That's
The
true.
time is not running. The score is not changing. There is no down or distance. Yes.
I really like the performance. I always appreciate how much symbolism and sort of pageantry that Kendrick puts into his live performances at award shows and stuff like this. Thought the sound quality could have been better. It might have just been the stream I was watching it on or the
There were
YouTube
a lot of
clip.
people with the same complaints watching it live.
Oh, okay. So maybe that was just an issue then. But overall, I like the performance, like the song selection, like the guest selection and SZA. I believe you should remember that I called that months ago here on the show. And there we
Let me
have it.
throw you your flowers right now. The Drake troll job that happened
Yeah.
during this as well. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't know any of that history and they watch the performance and they're like, why is he doing what he's doing? The ultimate troll job of all time?
Yes. So for anyone who does not know, they are in a feud that started with the song First Person Shooter with Drake and J. Cole, where Drake called himself, J. Cole, and Kendrick the big three of rap, the three best rappers around. Kendrick didn't take too kindly to that. He says, "No, I'm the best." And so he responds, and then Drake and Kendrick have a back and forth. And then the biggest song, Not Like Us, was one of the songs performed last night, as well as some of Euphoria.
And there's some legal action being taken there on
Yeah.
Drake's
Yes.
side with all of this.
Drake has initiated a lawsuit against Universal Music Group over botting claims on the streams of Kendrick's song, as well as potential harassment, defamation sort of things regarding around the disses and Drake's affinity for younger women, per se.
That
See-
may as well have been in Portuguese with English subtitles for me. It's about how well I followed that.
So, Brown, did you watch the halftime show?
I did. I did. So, I mean, like, if you had had me in here Friday and said, name Drake's song or name Kendrick Lamar songs, could not have named one. Can't swear that I've ever heard him, probably have.
Can you name one now?
Like It Is?
Not Like Us.
Not Like
Close.
Us? Okay.
Close.
Tyler had just
Easy.
said it, which was the cheat sheet.
Oh, wow. Tyler had just said that. Yeah, again, Portuguese with English subtitles are what Tyler just said.
Yeah.
The fact that EG can already read my mind is pretty interesting. That is fascinating that EG knew exactly what I was trying to say.
Yep.
Tyler was looking at me like I had,
Mhm.
porn growing out of my head there.
Well, there was a song that was part of the recent feud called Like That, so I
Oh.
didn't know which one
You know
meant
which
or
one I
if
was
you
messing
listened
up?
to.
I
Gotcha.
know.
So I'm not familiar with his catalog, Melton, so I can't tell you if it was good or bad because I don't know if it was good or bad. I also accept the fact that I am a 48-year-old man, that the NFL knows I am hooked on the Super Bowl, and unlike Tyler, I'm going to watch every play.
They've already
Yeah.
got your attention.
They've got me,
Yeah.
so they're not going to build a musical act around my taste
Yeah.
because they've got my generation. So they're trying to draw in this is a perfect example. Like Tyler, really, you didn't have a ton of interest in the game, right?
Not particularly.
So they're
I watched the halftime show this
So
morning.
they're trying to draw the Tylers of the world in, which it worked. So I get that. I mean, from a marketing perspective, that's pretty smart. But, I don't know. Like, I mean, who would you get that appeals to me?
And that's really where the problem is with the
Yeah.
whole halftime act. There's nobody you can get that's not going to draw criticism because, we're so spoiled these days to where we're not being spoon fed a lot of music. We like what we like and we listen to what we like on repeat.
Yeah.
We listen to that, we curate playlists to our tastes. Like music radio right now. I don't even know what the
I-
future of that
I
is
don't
or-
even know what's popular now because everybody just goes off of Spotify
Yeah.
or just
We're-
listens to radio stations or curates specific sound profiles, and we don't have like a shared culture anymore around music.
Correct. So it's not really a Kendrick specific thing. It's the way the game is organized is you're being force fed this music and then you're being encouraged to go on social media and blast out to the world what you think about it, even though it's something you would never choose in your free time or with your own free will. And we're in a best of, worst of culture. That was the best of all the halftime acts. That was the worst of all the halftime acts. And I saw more people on my feed saying this is the worst thing they'd ever seen in the halftime than saying it was the best. But that's
Yeah.
because the game is rigged against Kendrick Lamar and even the entire genre going into the halftime show itself.
But I also think people forget that Black Eyed Peas had a halftime show. Go back and watch that video
Yeah.
and then come back and tell me what you think of Kendrick Lamar.
But I also think the fitting into the crowd thing to do is to destroy the halftime show or the anthem, whoever sings the anthem, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
You're going to rush to do that on social media because everybody doesn't get laughs.
Right.
Whether you think it's good or bad, you're going to fit in better if you say it's bad because more people are saying it's bad. There's always going to be criticism of that. But I like country music. Country music is never going to be a Super Bowl halftime show.
Again,
It has been, you're right, but it's not going to be again. Like, I don't even know who you could get out of the country genre.
Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen.
yeah.
That would be your most popular guy. Is that a good halftime show for the Super Bowl? I would enjoy it, but the Tylers of the world wouldn't.
Right.
And again, they've already got me watching the game, so
Right.
they don't need to appeal to me.
And if you're the artist, just the exposure itself and
Yeah.
being on that stage with that amount of people caring about you.
What
They-
about
they
Post Malone? He would probably have the widest
great.
Post
appeal.
Malone would be awesome.
Yeah.
Could he do his old stuff and country?
I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Why not? But see, here's the thing. I guess Beyonce could technically do the same thing. I don't care for her country songs. I'm not crazy about Post Malone's, to be honest with you. But the NFL wants to get more than 100 million viewers for this game. And the way you get to 100 million viewers is draw in people that don't care about the game. And the way you do that is to put a Kendrick Lamar at halftime or whoever's going to get that. Because those numbers, you watching at halftime, added up just like me watching in the first quarter. It's still part of the viewership that will affect the overall number.
Well, Brian Pavlik was on with his five most impactful halftime performances ever. He was on last week with us and laid out a history of the halftime acts, and he made it very clear last night this would not end up in his top
It
five.
didn't make the top five?
It
I
would
bet
not
Prince
have been in his
did.
top five. Prince did. Prince was
Yeah.
number 4.
That is one of the ones that was universally, like, you
Oh,
would
yeah.
not have gotten people all over social media killing that one.
Yeah, no, it was excellent.
Yeah.
The rain during Purple Rain,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Could not have been better.
Okay, so John Batiste with the national anthem. I thought it was
good.
I thought it was phenomenal with the
Loved
piano
it.
out there. Really, really good.
Loved.
Loved the rendition there. And I do think we're at a point here, Brown, where if the Eagles are playing in a Super Bowl, your whole goal as a performer of the national anthem is to try to make the head coach of the Eagles cry, because Chris Stapleton absolutely destroyed that man.
Yep.
And I didn't see any tears coming out of the Eagles head coach's eyes during this rendition, but he was close. It felt like he was close.
There's a backstory to that, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a backstory. Now, I'm not going to remember the whole story as I need to sit here and tell it, but there is a backstory to that there was something about it where, God, I wish I could remember the story now. And he had said, that hearing the national anthem in the Super Bowl would make him, like, he had told people, because of this, when I hear the anthem at the Super Bowl, it's going to make me cry.
Well, there were
And
multiple grown men crying during that performance as well.
Stapleton's was tremendous. There's another guy, but again, that's not a great halftime show, but I'd love to see Stapleton do the halftime show.
When it comes to the anthem, I mean, Whitney Houston, Chris Stapleton, they're pretty much neck and neck.
It's hard to beat those two.
Hard to beat those two, and anybody else is a distant third.
Whitney, I've seen varying reports as whether or not hers was voice tracked. Like, I know the backing was tracked.
Yeah.
The orchestra, like, they didn't have a 40-piece orchestra set up and mic'd on the field at the Super Bowl. Nobody's an idiot. They just did that for looks. And I know that was tracked, but I don't know if her voice was.
Well, the impact of it was something that was genuine.
Yeah, and a lot of that had to do with where we were in the nation. We had just gone to war in the Persian Gulf. And for people my age, that's the first war we had ever lived through. War, it ended in Vietnam, and that was the first American war. So there was a very patriotic time. And that anthem just nailed the patriotism of that time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Tom Brady as a color
not good.
commentator. Like, he's had a season now, a full season. The grade you would give him, the letter grade you would give him, being once again an avid football watcher as a color analyst, he's there because of his stature in the game. He's there because of his celebrity. He's there because everyone is going to have an opinion on Tom Brady. Greg Olson is the better commentator. I don't think there's anybody debating that.
Yep.
But what would be your letter grade for this experiment that has been Tom Brady there in the booth?
I'd probably give this a D or F.
Oh,
it's not great.
Wow.
Yeah, not great. And Tom Brady's the best that's ever done it on the field. Here's what I don't understand about this. So, like, if you're Fox and you're spending a boatload of money to get Tom Brady to do this, what's your thinking behind that?
I don't understand how they overlooked the clause where he's not allowed to be in any coaches' meetings, any player meetings.
He can't criticize officiating.
Can't criticize officiating.
I don't know why. It's because he's a part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. So by NFL rules, he can't do any of those things. He can't be in coaches' meetings, can't go to practice, he can't criticize the league or officials.
And literally, as a color commentator, obviously you're breaking down plays, etc. But that is a lot of the brunt of your work is to give color to what you're seeing.
That's right. It's one thing that Troy Aikman does exceptionally well. He's not afraid to tell, to say the NFL messed this up or the officiating messed this up, and Brady cannot do that.
Can't do it.
But if I'm Fox, is Tom Brady getting more people to watch games?
I mean, he is someone that everyone knows, right?
Yeah.
He is, but, like, does that get you to watch a game you wouldn't normally watch? Like, I am as avid a sports fan as there is. Love the NFL. Watch it every single Sunday. As you can see, I'm a Dolphins fan. I watch my Dolphins every single Sunday. I have never once said, it's not going to be a good game, but boy, that analyst on the game, I think I'll watch. I've never once said that, ever. And I love sports. I love football. It's either going to be a game I want to watch or not. And most of the time, it's a game I want to watch. I think an analyst can only ruin a game. Can't really.
Agreed.
They can help at EG, but they can't make it be the difference in me wanting to watch it or not.
No, and this is my stance. This might be controversial, but I think the best play-by-play and color and sideline, tandem is when they only add to it and you almost don't notice them because they're
Yeah.
doing such a good job. In my opinion, when you start noticing the commentating or you start
Did-
noticing things, that's when it's an indicator that typically something isn't going right.
Did
Right.
you guys like when Romo would start predicting plays that were going to be run, and then they would actually run those?
I
and then-
liked it, but then it became almost a self-fulfilling prophecy,
Yeah.
right? At first, it was like pretty wild, and
Yeah.
then it was like, well, this is my shtick, so I'm just going to lean into it as much as possible, and then it got old
Yeah.
after a while. But the wild thing about the NFC is, they've got the better of the two packages because of all the major markets that have NFC teams. So Fox pays a little bit more, but they also get the better ratings because they've got a team in New York, a team in LA, a team in
Mhm.
Chicago, a team in DC, a team in Philadelphia, a team in Dallas, Fort Worth. I mean, they've got all those major markets that have teams. So they're naturally going to get higher ratings than CBS does for the AFC. So you're already getting higher ratings. Why
Why?
do you pay more to get Tom Brady
Yeah.
thinking that's going to increase ratings?
I think my biggest cringe moment was when they were going out to commercial and he didn't realize it and they had to
Ooh, that is awkward,
it
isn't it?
was last night. I was
The
like,
biggest
"Ugh."
criticism of him is it's always about him. He talks about himself too much.
He does. And, there was a time where he was talking to the officiating expert, and they were on completely different wavelengths,
Yeah.
not talking about the same sort
Right.
of idea there. And that was kind of cringy. But is there a chance he pulls a reverse Romo where when Romo popped up on the scene, everybody immediately loved him in that spot, and then they began to detest him? Is there a chance, now that everybody's sort of made up their mind that Tom Brady's not great at this, that by year 2, he turns into everyone's favorite color commentator throughout the entire country?
It's gonna be a long way to go for that.
Redemption to him.
Yeah.
Happens because obviously we're talking about how he has to talk about himself, but it's in one way, what else can he talk about? Because he can't discuss what he saw at practice, what he heard at practice, or what he talked to the coaches about. Like he's
Yeah, but I guess the flip side of it too, though, EG, is like Eagles Commanders NFC Championship game. I'm also not going to say, God, Tom Brady's on the game
Yeah.
I can't watch. I
right.
mean, he's always going to be on the best NFC game
Right.
each week. Well, I'm going to watch the best NFC game each week.
So he's gonna be there.
So
yeah.
he's going to be there. So I guess the other side of that is, yeah, we can pay him all this money because it's not going to run you off either because you're addicted to football.
Kind of
which I
like when
am.
you fly commercial, you never get to pick your pilot. You're just kind of in their hands. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the way it is with these broadcast teams. You don't really get a chance to pick your pilot if you plan on watching the television broadcast the way it's presented. Now, a lot of people have always liked to turn down the TV, turn up the radio, and that kind of stuff. But even that's really died down from being a
I would
viable
agree.
option.
But if I get a bad play-by-play or commentator, I don't end up in a fiery crash. I just get a bad game
It
experience.
depends on, if the Dolphins are playing. That's
always a fiery crash. Yes.
All right. I want to get into the Super Bowl advertisements.
Yep.
But Brown, I want to start off with yours. Your favorite advertisement from the entire night would have been what?
I saw it before. I am a fan of Shane Gillis. I
Mhm.
really, really like Shane Gillis. I like Peyton Manning. I think he's funny. And obviously, we have a connection on our show with Bud Light. It's our title sponsor. So the Bud Light cul-de-sac party, I had seen it on social media before, and the first time I saw it, I had several laugh out loud moments. Like
Mhm.
I like the fact that they break the fence down and people keep coming through that and keep hitting the same bump. It's just something small that's funny. I like the fact that they're like, your mower is a smoker. Our smoker cuts grass. I mean, just stupid stuff like that. The fact that the guy's on the boat and he's like, get off the boat. The HOA is already breathing down my neck. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just, I thought that was a really, really good commercial. Obviously, Bud Light, is trying to reach, trying to repair some things and trying to reach a younger demographic. And that is, Shane Gillis and Post Malone are going to do that. And I've never been a big Post Malone fan until I heard stories about him from the Floribama and the way he conducted himself at the Floribama. So I am now a much bigger Post Malone fan after hearing some of those stories about him.
You hear about artists all the time that genuinely connect with their fans. Post
Yeah.
Malone just genuinely connects with people. Like
Yeah.
there's an
Yeah.
extra level where he can find a random person in life and you hear this wonderful story and you're just blown away by it.
He seems to just make people who have never heard of him, wouldn't necessarily have any interest in his music or anything he does. He seems to just immediately get love from them, just like warms their heart whenever he meets people.
Absolutely. You want to hear EG's list real quick?
Sure.
Okay, let's
Let's do
hear
it.
it. Let's start off with number 5, five
Okay,
best.
number 5 The Mick Ultra pickleball commercial.
Loved it. It's in my top
That
5
one
as well.
made me laugh so hard, and I
Yes.
love pickleball.
So that one has Willem Dafoe and Catherine O'Hara
Yep.
teaming up to play pickleball for Ultras, Michelob Ultras, and it's extremely funny.
Did you like that one, Brown? Did you see that one?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did like that one. I didn't see every single commercial, but I did
Yeah.
see that one.
Okay, number 4, the Post Malone and Shane Gillis Bud Light commercial.
That's
there
number
you go.
5 for me.
Good. 3, the David Beckham Stella commercial.
That's it.
That one cracked me up.
I didn't like that one.
Really?
No. Him and
Uh.
Matt Damon are supposed to be like identical twins or something.
Yeah, they're like
and
separated.
at birth.
It made me laugh. Okay, honorable mentions. We've got the Angel Soft potty break. That one was
I didn't see that one. That was right before the music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Or-
you still have time to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Still
yeah,
have time to go to the bathroom.
I like that one a lot. That one was good. That was honorable mention. The football conspiracy one, it's all about food.
With Matt McConaughey.
Yeah, honorable mention. And then the knockout cancer Pfizer one.
I agree. That one was very emotionally gripping. And if you have ever had someone, especially someone young in your life that's battled cancer,
Mhm.
I thought it was a great testament to the strength of what it takes to battle through something like that, not only for the patient, but also for the family involved as well. So very powerful there. Any love for the Google Pixel emotional ad? It was the AI.
The Apple one was better, like the Christmas Apple ad, and so
Yeah.
that was kind of my standard, and this
Very
one
simple.
didn't really.
I thought it was pretty emotional. It's a a guy preparing for a job interview, and he's getting ready for the test with this Google AI thing, and they're like, "What's the toughest, or what's the job that's taught you the most about yourself?" And it was raising his daughter, and it goes through the whole thing, and then at the end, he's hugging her, sending her off to college, and then it shows her as a little girl hugging him, and it's just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
girl dads
All the
everywhere,
feels, yeah.
all the feels there. All right, so what takes
Number 2,
the number 2 spot?
the live sports YouTube TV. That was, I think, one of the first commercials, and it was like watching live sports through all of the different eras of humanity, and it starts off in like the caves, and then it's like ends with someone like knocking over the TV and stuff.
I
too.
did think that was creative. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I would call it one of my favorites, but I thought the idea, the concept of it was very creative.
Yeah. I just like that one.
Yeah.
And then my favorite one was the American Dream, the Rocket.com.
Why do I not remember this one?
Oh no.
What? Give me more details. Can you give me more
It
details
was
about that one?
it was documenting like how when you want to own a home.
No, I remember this one. Yeah. I vaguely remember that
Yeah,
one.
and it's like the pregnant lady, and then just all these different
I remember.
clips of like home owning and things like that. I like that one. That was
No-
my number 1.
No love for the Mountain Dew Baja
I hated
Blast
the Mountain
seal?
Dew
Oh, I
one.
The
love that.
seal,
That
that's
one
a
was
seal?
my favorite.
I
yeah.
hated that one.
Yeah. But I was with some people watching the game, like, what is this? I was like, it's Sill. He's a Sill.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is one of those
I thought it was
moments.
pretty funny.
Right. The people that are laughing in that room, like,
Yeah.
you understand their style of humor compared to the people
Yeah.
who are like, what is this piece of art?
I didn't like that one. I hated the cowboy hat, whatever that thing,
I'm with you on that.
and then the tongue one.
Oh, also.
Yeah, the
awful.
tongue one was
And
terrible.
notice how I don't remember what brands those were. I just remember.
That's right. I don't know what the tongue
I
one
don't,
was selling.
yeah. So they weren't even impactful because normally people are like, well, if you remember it because it's so bad, that means they did their job. And I'm
No.
like, no, shut up. I don't even remember what brand it was.
My number 1, which was not mentioned by EG, was the Totino pizza rolls where they
The
are
little.
With Tim Robinson.
with Tim
That one's
Robbins.
so good.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Or
not
Tim
remembering
Robinson.
it.
Yes.
I'm not remembering this
Tim
one.
Robbins would have been very different. Tim Robinson, where
Andy Dufresne crawled through.
it is a E.T. ripoff where they're wishing the alien goodbye and he's taking pizza rolls and then he gets
this.
trapped in the door and dies. And then Tim Robinson pops up and is like, I hardly even knew the guy or whatever. All these kids are crying. And it's very funny. If you've seen E.T. and you have any sort of recollection of what that feels like saying goodbye to E.T. and then seeing this Totino's ad, I thought it was perfectly done. That's
I
my
think
favorite.
of the Walton Goggins goggles commercial.
I thought that was
Didn't do much for me.
yeah. And they've been building up to that too. He does I'm unfortunately hooked on TikTok. And he's got a TikTok that he kept doing it. I never could figure out
Which one?
what is Walton Goggins doing? And then it ties into that commercial there. He was just building up to that commercial the whole time. I like him though. I like Walton Goggins.
He's great.
Yeah.
You know which one made me laugh? The Reese's lava thing.
Didn't do much for me.
That made me laugh. The old lady in the little motorized cart made me laugh.
Jeremy Strong in the Dunkins, the
That was
Dunkings commercial where he's in the coffee trying to become coffee,
Mm-hmm.
like as a method actor. It was funny.
What about
Yeah.
Eugene Levy's eyebrows flying around? I
That
thought
was pretty funny.
weird. Oh, you thought it was funny?
I mean, it's kind of
I thought
weird,
it was
but
weird.
kind of funny.
You remember that one? Again, don't remember the advertising. What they're even
I think it
advertising.
was
Little Caesars.
Little Caesars.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Hellman's, the Mayo with When Harry Met Sally with
Yep.
Billy Crystal and Meg
Oh,
They're
Ryan.
playing that one at the theaters all the time.
Yeah,
Sydney Sweeney in there.
Yeah.
I thought that one was really
That
well
was
done.
good.
So overall, there's the complete commercial slate really, and sort of our thoughts of the winners and losers. I didn't like the Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth
Oh, none of those made sense.
art ads with the wearable tech. None of those did anything for me, but we'd love to hear from you what your favorite commercial was from the big game. Brownie, I always love this, and that is when you talk about our good friends at MyBookie. Would you do the honor of telling
I would love
everybody
to.
about what's going on at MyBookie right now?
Yeah, mybookie.ag. Code. Do you still use code next round here on the show? Okay,
Mhm.
good. Code next round at mybookie.ag. I just want to give the right code. That gets you a 50% sign on bonus in the sports book area up to $1,000. You can go play any of the games there. We saw some early lines. I'm going to do these off the top of my head. Auburn, I think, a 10.5-point favorite at Vanderbilt. Alabama, a 4.5-point favorite at Texas. Those are some early lines for tomorrow's games. You can play those at mybookie.ag. Code next round. A lot of people like that casino there at mybookie.ag, and I understand why. There's a 300% bonus up to $2,000 at the casino when you use code TNR Casino. That is TNR Casino. So mybookie.ag, code next round for the sports book, code TNR Casino for the casino bonus, and you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Mybookie.ag.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate
Enjoyed
you
it.
recapping what
Enjoyed it.
was a wonderful event over the weekend. We would have liked maybe a little bit more of a competitive game, but
Agreed.
you know, I thought it was a weak slate for the Super Bowl commercials, just to put that out there. But I'm still happy we got the time there with family. That's what's important. So we appreciate you being a part of the Meltdown family. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button for us. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. That little notification bell let you know every single time we go live. I'm off to watch this Portuguese subtitled movie, so this should be a lot of fun.
Portuguese with English
That is
subtitles.
correct. I
Enjoy
was
it.
just condensing it there, Tyler. I appreciate it very much. We'll be back tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, live right here on the Meltdown.